Rana Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 53 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. This is your host, Rana Campbell, and we are at the end of the year, last episode of 2016. I feel like it was just yesterday when we were launching January 1st. I had 50 people on my email list. No subscribers, no listeners, didn't even really know how podcasting went. It's been a journey since then. If you think about all the great things that we have been able to accomplish, such as being featured twice on the iTunes homepage, surpassing 65,000 downloads altogether, being a fixture in the Black Voices in Business category in iTunes, secured the first podcast sponsorship for 2017, great guests, great relationships built, so much self-development, so much confidence and growth over these past 53 episodes that I am so amazed because with you guys, I personally have been on a dream driving journey. This has been something of mine that I've dreamed about for years, but I never really executed on. It was a gift of mine that I thought I would always be good at showing people my interviews and actually bringing people into them and showing and giving values to people that I feel connected to, creative and lifestyle entrepreneurs, and really showing you guys that you do not have to give up on yourself. And that's the one thing that I really wanted to hone in on all these episodes is that you can do it. A lot of times we think that challenges are going to be things that are going to make or break us, but they do not have to be. So that's something that I really took away from each and every guest. So I wanted to just kind of quickly go through some things that I've learned. This episode is all about the idea of just do it, how to get your dreams into drive for the new year. So here are 52 lessons that I think we all can take away that I think will really help you as you put your dreams into year in 2017. Now, I just want to let you know that each lesson is going to be aligned with an actual episode. I may or may not mention the guest. I'm not trying to make these super long, so I would recommend that you guys pause, get a pencil, get a pad, get your notepad out on your phone or something, and every time you hear a number, go back to that episode and listen to that one, okay? So 1, don't be afraid to invest in you. You are your biggest investment. Choose you all the time. Invest in yourself. 2, you have to get started. Just do it. Make a date. Make a jump. Get committed. That's going to be integral to your journey. 3, practice. Do your research. Remember, greatness is not made overnight. If you want to be a master of something, you really have to really understand what you have to do to be a master. 4, don't be afraid to juggle what you don't want to do until you can do what you want to do full time. Drive smartly. Don't make bad business decisions just because you want to start driving right now. Sometimes right now doesn't have to be right now and I'm just going to be broke or whatever. No, you can do something smartly. You can transition. You can ride in neutral for a little bit until you're fully in drive. Don't forget about that. 5, if you want to build a business, don't skip out on being financially literate. That's something that a lot of new time entrepreneurs don't practice, and it comes to bite them in the rear end. And remember, your finances and your mindset are going to really be crucial as you develop any brand or any business. So don't think the two aren't connected. 6, never offer services that you are not an expert in unless you're going to hire an expert to execute. Especially in the beginning, and especially if you're providing a service-based business, you need to know that you're pretty darn good at what you're doing because you're either going to get burned out, you're going to get bad reviews if you can't actually perform to the level to which your clients are expecting. Think about your customer, what they need, and what you can actually provide. Sakita Holly said that. 7, you don't have to go broke chasing your dreams. And if you're broke, you don't have to stay broke. There are ways to build yourself out of debt. That's something that the Budgetnista really is an expert at teaching. So if that resonates with you, 7 is for you. Episode 7 is for you. 8, continue to adapt. Figure out how your business is changing and how you can change with it. And don't be afraid to be like water. Megan Kathari talks about her business building her jewelry company, and that was one of the things that she really learned. And I think that's something that we all can take into the new year as well. Number 9, trust your dopeness. 3 words, trust your dopeness. Trust your dopeness. Trust it. 10, when you're ready to take the leap, diversify your revenue streams. If you want to be a blogger, for example, as Christina Brown talks about in episode 10, just blogging alone is not going to pay the bills. You have to figure out what your business model is going to be and how you can diversify those revenue and income streams. 11, training your mind is crucial to your success, because if your mind is privy to toxicity, then you will struggle. So if you're able to conquer your mind and conquer the roadblocks that your mind has set up for you, then you can really find success. 12, we all have an inner boss. Sometimes we have to do the work in order to unleash it. That's something that Amira talks about in her episode. So if you want to learn more about how you can unleash your inner boss, listen to episode 12. 13, it's okay to start over. Sometimes one road ends. You can change cars. And if you change cars, that's not bad. Lana Boone thought she was going to be a journalist, and now she's a natural hair entrepreneur. How did that happen? Episode 13. 14, if you let other people define your success, you will never find fulfillment. You have to take the time to nurture your own definition of success. No one else can do that for you. No one can do that for you, and no one should. 15, a business plan never hurt anybody. Sometimes you gotta just lay it out. It doesn't have to be very technical, but you really should, when you're mapping out your business, your brand, whatever you're creating, have some sort of plan that you are using to help guide your decisions. 16, think big. You don't always have to start from the bottom to get to the top, but if you're going to bypass some steps, make sure you have the skills to back them up. If you want to know how you can get this dream position that you want and how you can bypass some steps, maybe it's possible, but you actually have to make sure that you're good and that you're going to provide value, because that's going to help you if you are going to bypass some steps. 17, if opportunity does not knock, build a door. Think about ways that you can leverage things that you're already involved in order to help to build your dream. Sometimes the community, sometimes the relationships that you're in right now can really serve as stepping stones and really serve as breeding grounds to your ideas and your dreams. You just have to figure out how to make that a reality. 18, your voice matters. The best work comes from an honest place. So sometimes we may not feel that we're connecting with our audience, we're not being true to ourselves, but once we really do become true to ourselves, then honestly so much opens up for us, and that's amazing. That's when you're really going to start seeing yourself flourish. Be honest, be genuine, be authentic. 19, just do it. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, stop making excuses. Figure out what your strengths are and use that to define your path moving forward. Nate talks about in episode 19 how he figured out at a young age that he was good at sales. So you know what he built his career around? Sales. Sales in different ways. And of course he, was involved in different types of things in his life, but his core strength came back to him being a great business development person and a great networker and natural marketer. And that's where he focused in on honing his strengths and his skills. 20, jump and build your wings on the way down. Sometimes we may do things and think, wait, wow, Is this going to work out? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? When you make that leap, don't think about falling, think about flying. Two different mindsets. If you're thinking about what's going to happen when you hit the ground, then how will you ever really be committed to succeeding? Because you're focusing on failure. Don't focus on failure. Focus on flying. 21, get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm taking this straight from the episode, Quan Bevins. Don't get discouraged even when people don't believe in your dreams or ideas. You always have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, who else will? Have that courage to take the first step, because a lot of people don't even take that first shot. Are you going to keep that ball in your hands forever? Even if you miss that shot, pick up the ball and shoot again. Keep shooting until you make it. That's something that Quan did in his life, and he now is successfully, running college shirt tour and doing a lot of great things in the community. So listen to that episode if you want to learn more about that. 22, comparison. Stop that right now. New year, comparing yourself is not going to help you move forward. It's just going to contribute to stress and doubt, all that stuff that dream drivers, we don't have time for that. It's going to be a part of our lives, but we don't have time to allow it to flourish in our lives. So stop comparing yourself. Your genius might be on the other side of fear, something DJ Henry said in that episode. 23, start small and think about how you want to focus on just one thing. Sometimes when we're launching a brand or business, we may want to do everything. But if you focus on being good to one type of customer, one audience member, one persona, get really good at that, and then you can scale. So start small and then branch out. 24, don't knock reflection. Sometimes you have to pause and really evaluate where you have come and where you are going. And in that reflection, there will be so many things that you'll learn, so many hidden gems that were not relevant to you while you were driving. 25, self-development is key. Anthony Frazier says, and I quote, "Until you're self-motivated, you'll never reach your full potential." And I believe that. I think a lot of times, a lot of us are running around not really knowing who we are. You have to really practice self-awareness in order to know where you are going to go. 26. Don't try to be the same person who started your business and the same person who takes it where it needs to be. I personally don't think that I am the same person that I was when I first started Dreams and Drive. I was a lot fearful then. I wasn't as confident in my craft. And now a year later, I think I'm different. You guys may hear it on the episodes. I just had a conversation with one of my friends who is a avid listener of the show, who really said, "Raina, I'm proud of you because you really developed over the past year." If I sound the same in episode 1 that I sound the same now, then that's not good. So remember that your brand, your business, your idea should be about progression and continually getting better. 27, biggest takeaway from that episode was your little idea could be something big and something powerful to a community that really needs it. Don't forget about that. 28, be careful who you tell your dreams to. Not everyone is going to support you as a dream driver. And there are going to be some dream killers in your life, but you have to really know who dream killers are and how to identify them. And remember, a dream killer doesn't necessarily have to be a bad person. Like, for example, a parent could be a dream killer, but you still love your parents. But when it comes to certain things and it comes to your brand, there may be certain things you just do not mention to these people because they may not know how to support you in that. Just an example. 29, your spirituality is important. Make time for connecting and finding yourself on that level. There's a lot of things that may happen to us when we're not spiritually clear. One of the things that Ray, the guest that I interviewed in that episode, he said, if you allow yourself to be peaceful, grounded, clear, and free of distraction, you will know what your calling is. That goes along with episode 30, which we get to 30, is follow your energy. We each have an energy. We each have that thing that really ignites our flame inside. You have to figure out where your energy is ignited and follow that. And that can really help you when you're feeling lost in your journey. I don't know if I was on a mental health kick or something, but 31 is your mental health is also important. No, don't neglect it. A lot of times we neglect our mental health as entrepreneurs and as creatives, especially people who are, people of color. We do that a lot, and I think that it might be even stigmatized in our communities. And I would say prioritize your mental health, your spiritual health, all that stuff, your emotional health, because it's something that if it's really damaged, it may take a long time for us to get back to that normal. So don't allow yourself to get to a point of no return, although there always is a return. But I would really say it's okay. It's okay. And if you're feeling away, don't be afraid to ask for help. 32, research is key. If you're going to start anything, I would say do some kind of research. Don't quit your job before you know if there's actually a market for this idea of yours. Really understand your industry, understand who the key players are. That's something that Jeff and Kalisa in episode 32 talk about a lot, how they didn't just move to Jamaica and then decide they were going to launch a bed and breakfast. They did the research and then they moved. 33, growing your following can be done. Don't get discouraged when your numbers aren't growing. There are certain steps, though, that you have to take. And I'm just going to say, listen to episode 33 because Brianda of Quirky Brown Love gives the exact steps that you can use. And we have links in the show notes. So that was a great episode for that. 34, hustle cannot be bought. Hustle is sold separately. Ebony Swink lost all her money in her first business. But guess what? She still came back. And now she has 3 stores instead of 1 store. She was able to triumph over challenges and really learn, what did she do wrong? Why did she fail that first time? So as you go into the new year, remember, you have to have a hustle about you that no one should be able to break, that failure can't break. And if you're able to really nurture that hustle, anything's possible. P.S. Know your target market. That's Marketing 101. And Ebony really talked about that too in her episode, is you really have to understand your customer. It's not about you. It's about your customer. It's about your audience. It's about what they need to hear. It's not about what you want to sell in your store. It's about what your customers will buy from your store. Remember that. 35, your story has power. A lot of times we as creatives, we as entrepreneurs don't want to put our story into our brands, not knowing that our story is a thing that will connect people to you. People like people. People want to feel connected to you. So if you think your story does not matter, rethink that. Your story does matter. Your story has power. 36, this dream driving road is not always going to be straight. There are going to be a lot of turns, a lot of pitfalls, a lot of ditches. But you got to understand, this is a process, and understand, and that's something that Shay talks about in that episode 36, is figure out the part of the process, the part of the journey that you enjoy, and allow that to really direct your next move. 37, you are stronger than you think. In episode 37, Dawn Fitch, who's the creator of Puka Pure and Simple, talks about how she uses 3 P's to navigate her life: prayer, perseverance, and persistence. And if you use these 3 things in your life, she says that will help you navigate your journey. And that's something that she had to do. She couldn't be afraid to move. She, both figuratively and literally, she moved her business several times. She took leaps of faith because she knew that something was carrying her and that she was going to be successful and it was going to be all right. Sometimes you have to remember or remind yourself it's going to be all right. 38, if you feel like you're wasting your talent, do something about it, because that feeling like you're wasting critical moments of your life, critical potential, that can be draining. So definitely do something about it if you feel like you're wasting time in your life. 39. Sometimes you have to remember that you can't live your life for anyone else. Your life is your life to live. Sometimes you're going to have to move away from family and friends. You're going to have to just take a leap of faith on yourself. I think that's something that's a recurring theme in all these episodes, is having faith in your ideas and really believing that it can succeed. That's something that Amber talks about in that episode. So it's a good one. 40. It's important to build a team. Nicole Walters said in her episode, it's important to have people around you to support the skill sets you don't have so that you can see your dream realized. Every dream driver at some point, in order to grow, is going to need a team and a support system. So don't forget about that. 41, always provide value before asking anyone for anything. Don't try to sell someone popcorn if you're not teaching them first about why popcorn is important. That was probably a bad example, but you guys get what I mean. And Stephen Hart in that episode talks about the whole idea of seeing marketing and branding as a system of deposits and withdrawals. 42, personality matters. People have to like you. And when people like you, they will support you. Philomena Kane talks about how she really used her personality and her natural self to build her YouTube channel. And if you ever go on Philomena, Naturally Philo's YouTube channel, you can see her subscribers love her and they engage with her and they look up to her. She has influence because she really put the personal brand in branding. 43, make sure your goals are specific in the new year. You need a roadmap because a lot of times we may just say, hey, I want to grow a podcast. But I realized as part of this whole journey that growing a podcast meant, okay, so how many downloads do you want? How many countries do you want to be in? How many page views do you want on your site per month? How many people do you want on your newsletter? What magazines do you want to be featured in? What channels do you want to be on? You have to actually have a roadmap. Erica says a good idea means nothing at all without execution. Nothing without execution. You can have an idea and it does not matter if you don't actually execute on it. 44, learn what helped you be productive and then systemize it. What makes me productive is not what's going to make you productive, but you have to really learn to master yourself and master systems that can help you and not be afraid to evaluate that. I had an episode on 7 ways to be more productive, and those are things that work for me. They can serve as inspiration for you, but at the end of the day, learning how to be productive is going to be critical upon you learning yourself as well. 45, if you want to build a profitable business, stop focusing on being popular. Popularity does not pay the bills. Hone in on the actual elements of what goes into business building. Sometimes the person who has 10 followers on Instagram may be making more money than the person who has 20,000. If you aren't really focusing on the foundation of a business and what's going to carry it long term, then you'll never grow. Amber talks about how she was able to build $1 million business before she turned 30 and sold it. Listen to that episode, 45. 46, every day you wake up, practice gratitude. No day is promised. That's something that we discussed in episode 46, and it's something that I live every day because I could have died when I was a baby, and I'm still here. And I talk about that in that episode. 47, dream jobs, dream careers, dream ideas. They don't happen overnight. It's all a process, but it can be done. And if you're willing to accept that, you may not have the dream job the first time around, but if you put certain things into practice, you can, then I'm really confident that you will be able to achieve that. 48, embrace your gift, listen to your life, and that's how you'll find your life. Levante talks about how she lost her voice figuratively and literally at a point in her life, and the steps she had to take to regain her voice and how doing that changed her life. So if you are feeling like you can't find your voice, that you're not really sure what it is you're supposed to be doing, that was a great episode with Levante. So I would highly encourage that. 49, Remember that your road to success, I think I talked about that earlier with your dream job, but just the actual road is going to be long, but you have to be prepared for that. Yolanda Ross is an actress. She's been in the game for 15 plus years. And she just talks about what it's really like being a full-time artist and realizing that sometimes your expectations are going to change and you're going to have to define success all over again. And you're going to really have to be all right with your present. 50. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. That's something that a lot of creative entrepreneurs, especially women sometimes, may really not be confident when it comes to negotiation. So we had Kwame, a negotiation consultant and a lawyer, come on the show and really talk about how you can practice getting better at navigating negotiation. So he gave some great tips. 51. If you believe your answer will come, then you'll keep going. Alicia Dale really talks about her process of creating a children's book story and what really motivated her to keep going. And I think that was a really inspirational episode because sometimes we can get stuck on an idea and not move through it because we're allowing something to hold us back. So she really talks about moving through and beyond your ideas. And I think once you're able to master that, that can be really critical and can be really helpful as you put your dreams into gear for the new year. Lastly, 52, be intentional about your life. Self-development is going to be one of the best gifts you'll give yourself in 2017 and onward. Do not sleep on the power of taking the time to evaluate who you are and what you want to do. My sister Naima was on that episode, and she talks about how this leadership program that she was part of was the best gift she ever gave to herself because it allowed her to see herself and her life and how she can be more intentional about her life in a new way. So if that's anything I want to say to you, dream drivers, is you can be intentional about your life, but you have to be committed to it. And once you are committed to it, things will change for you for the better. Guaranteed. All right, so this part of the podcast, I want to hop into listener questions. So I had dream drivers submit questions via email, via Instagram, and I picked some that I want to answer in today's episode. And I think that these will be really fun to do just because I'm always asking other people questions. So it's fun to get to listen and sit back and see what you guys want me to answer. So this first one is from Alicia Dale, who's also one of our guests in episode 51. And she asked, if you could interview anyone in 2017, who would it be? So I have a lot of people I want to interview, and I think some of them are just aspirational for me because of people that I look up to. For example, I really wanted to interview Michael B. Jordan. I sent an email to his publicist, and she actually responded, and she was like, oh, he can't do it at this time. Keep in touch. You know I will. But if I could interview anyone in 2017 based upon who I admire, who I think dream drivers would also be interested in listening to, I want to interview DJ Khaled. That's like an aspirational interview for me. I think that he's done a lot of stuff, but I really want to get in on the what's motivating him, what drives him. How did he get this whole idea to really use Snapchat as his platform? I know he has a whole branding team, but he's just someone that I've admired from a branding and marketing level that I would love to just talk and sit and talk business. Like, let's actually break it down, Khaled. So if I could interview anyone, I would love to interview DJ Khaled. Lion. This question comes from Lalise, and her question is, have your personal aspirations changed as a result of an interview you did with one of your guests? If so, who was the guest and how did your goals change? So I don't think my goals changed, but I think every guest inspired me to set bigger goals. So maybe they did change. And to be more specific, if anything, especially talking with Erica Perry, she just made me realize that you really have to set specific goals and be serious about setting them. And they can even be small, big goals, or they can be big, small goals, if that makes any sense. But making sure that you are really living up to your potential is something else that I learned. I think talking with Levante in episode 48 about how to nurture your gifts and find your light, because she is somebody who's known me since I've come out of high school and who has watched me grow. And she's really been someone who has encouraged me to keep on doing this interviewing stuff, because she told me, this is a gift of yours. This is where you find passion. This is where you find yourself. Do not let that deter you. Do not step away from that, because that's where you'll find your light. And when you find your light, that's where you'll find your purpose. So if anything, I think maybe those are the episodes that really resonated with me. But all the guests were inspiring, and they all taught me something unique. As I hear from a lot of you guys listening in, that it's hard to just pick one favorite just because you learned something different from all of them. That also leads into another question that she had, which is, in a lot of the interviews you've done, you've mentioned your interests and talents and or experience writing books, acting, performance, dance. How do you think a wide range in interest and experience informs your approach to this podcast? I think that that's actually a strength, being that I'm pretty well-rounded and have a diverse background. I'm able to see things from multiple perspectives and able to bring on guests from multiple industries and speak to them in ways that we all can relate and we all can get nuggets from them. So whether you are somebody who's a fitness person, somebody who's a classical mythologist, whatever, I think that we all have common themes. So one of the things I did not want Dreams and Drive to be, although it could have been, was a podcast for only blank, blank, blank. No. Creative and lifestyle entrepreneurs, that's the main target audience, but I want to bring on people from different backgrounds, because I think there's something to learn from hearing someone who may not have the same goals, who may not have the same background as you, share their experience. So in 2017, I want to also broaden that as well, because I think if we are able to learn from other people's stories, there's a lot of healing that can be done, and there's also a lot of learning that can be done. And also, it's just also a way for me to appease my different interests. Like, if I was only interested in dance and only brought on choreographers, that would kind of be boring. So I'm trying to make the podcast as interesting and as different week to week as possible. So this question is from What We Gonna Do on Instagram, and he asked, what have you applied this year, and what will you continue applying moving forward? So the biggest thing that I applied this year had to be being consistent. I showed up every week. There were some weeks where I may have been late, but 53 episodes. That meant that I was consistent and committed, and it's something that I was not doing before when it came to even my own blog, ranacampbell.com, or other stuff. But Dreams and Drive was something I told myself that I was going to try to see what would happen if I was committed and if I truly believed in the vision, because that's something that I saw the greats did. Oprah, she was determined to get on air. She was determined to have her own show and to be successful. And if she did not believe in herself and if she was not consistent, where would she be now? There would be no Oprah. Derek Murphy asks, what continues to keep you motivated? I ask people that all the time, and, the answers vary. So when I ask myself that, I think the thing that keeps me motivated is the fact that I made that commitment to myself that I was going to be consistent. I think hearing dream drivers every week talk about how they are enjoying the podcast and how it really is inspiring them to keep and to put their dreams in drive is something that can't be explained. Like, how they say when you see your child for the first time, there's that feeling of love that you then have that no one can ever take away from you. I think it's that feeling of knowing that I have a purpose and knowing that this may be what leads me to that ultimate feeling of purpose, and knowing that I have a gift and not giving up on myself, because I don't want to be the thing that keeps me from being great. And I do have a belief in myself. Sometimes it's not always strong. Sometimes it's not always the most healthy. But I do have a core belief in myself that I am special and I have a gift that can help other people in their lives. He also asked, how are you able to get great guests on the show? And that's a great question, just because I had to like think back and say, wait, how was I able to get great guests on the show? So if I'm thinking about the 52 episodes prior to this one, I broke it down into 4 categories: relationship episodes I did by myself, episodes that were pitched directly to me, and ones that I did cold outreach. So I didn't know the people at all. I had no tie into them at all. So 20 episodes guests were from relationships that I had. So that meant that it either could have been, hey, I know this person, can you refer them to me? Or can you be the middleman? Or it was, hey girl, love what you're doing, come be on my show, we go way back, etc., etc. That's how I did 20 of those episodes. And that also is a testament to having a strong network. Now, I will confidently say that ever since college, I learned the importance of building a network and how to maintain and proactively engage with your network. So when the time came for me to ask of my network, they were willing to reply and willingly give. 19 of those episodes came from people pitching me. So it could have been people who found the podcast and pitched me directly. It could also have been part of me putting out requests for pitches and people responding to me. So I'm part of a networking group on Facebook called SARS Marketing and Media PR Professionals. And that's just a group of media professionals who are constantly sending pitches and constantly asking of the network. So I put out a few pitches there and I got about, I want to say maybe 4 to 5 episodes from that. So having networks that people can pitch to and you can pitch to as well are great. And then last but not least, I did cold outreach. Now, that number was 7. So that goes to show that relationships and having people pitch to you may be more successful right now for me, because when I'm asking people who don't know me to be on the show, it's like, what? What's Dreams and Drive? So I had to really have, number one, a solid FAQ about the show, like who we are, what we're doing, why we're credible. I also had to show the guests how they were going to get value by being on the show. So one of the guests I was able to get that way was the Budgetnista. I did not know her personally, but I think I had a good pitch to her. So relationships, me just doing Minnesotas myself, having people pitch to me, and doing direct outreach. All right, so this is going to wrap it up for our end of year Just Do It, how to put your dreams into gear for the new year episode. But before we wrap it up, I just want to do a little shout out to some people in my life that I'm really thankful for and who are really part of this whole dream driving journey. I want to say thank you to my father for giving me that dreamer spirit, who for always telling me when we were younger, as long as you have a mind, you can't be bored. My dad used to be so mad when we tell him we're bored. He's like, you can't be bored. Why? You have a mind. And that's something that I've always taken forward in my own life since then, is your mind is your biggest vessel, right? The biggest organ that you can use. Don't let that go to waste. You should never be bored. There's always something you can think about, always something you can reflect on. And I also want to say thank you to Dad for buying me my first microphone back in the day when I thought I was going to be a producer, and I had my friends come over in the basement. We would make beats on our Disney beat maker, and we try to sell backyard concerts. Thank you, Dad, for supporting the dream early on. Thank you, Mommy, for teaching me how to love reading and taking us to the library as a younger kid, and never telling me my 20 books in my book bag was too much books. You never told me to put down a book, and I'm really thankful for that. And I think that served as a foundation for me loving knowledge and loving learning. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you for driving me to Dwight every day, 20 miles here, 20 miles each way. Like, I hate driving now, so I can only imagine how you did it for 5 years. So thank you, Mom. Love you. Thank you to my sisters, Naima and AJ, for always being an encouragement. My besties, you guys know who you are, for letting me talk your ears off, and for never discouraging my crazy ideas, no matter how crazy they could have been. Thank you to Andrew for feeding my checkers funnel cake addiction. If you guys have listened to the podcast episode, I think in episode 24 is when I talk about it, how Dreams and Drive started and how it all started with me taking a picture after coming out the Checkers drive-through, and how that led to me buying a mic and how that led to me coming up with the whole Dreams and Drive slogan. So I don't think if Andrew hadn't helped my funnel cake addiction, that wouldn't have happened. Thank you to Nate in August 2015 for telling me to just do the podcast and stop making excuses. That really served as a catalyst for me. Thank you to David for making the infamous drop that you guys hear in every episode. He was also episode 1 guest. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the listeners who have engaged with me, all the new friends I've made on social media and in person and in life. I appreciate you guys all. Barry from Podcast in Color, your platform has been great for helping people find the podcast and as well as just helping to share every episode. #Pods in Color, Podcast in Color. You are doing amazing things. Thank you. I feel like there's so many other people that I could thank, and I don't want to not say their names, but everybody, you guys listening in, thank you so much. So I want to end this out on telling you guys that this whole podcast has really been my own testament to putting your dreams in drive. Literally, this podcast has been a dream of mine. So each week, me showing up has been me showing up for my dream. And there's been so many times, so many things that have happened to me over the course of the year. And I don't really talk about my personal life too much, but there are a lot of crashes, both figuratively and literally, that happened, and a lot of setbacks, a lot of emotional stuff too. But this podcast was something that I could show up to every week that really helped keep me going. So going back to Derek's question about what kept me going, it had to be this podcast. What keeps me motivated had to be you guys. This may sound really corny, but you guys really gave me reason. 2017 is going to be a great year. Whether you're listening to this in 2016 or if you're listening to this in 2017, I want to say that don't give up on yourself. Other people may give up on you, but really don't give up on yourself. That ability to get up and keep going is something that we as dream drivers have to continue to feed and continue to nurture. There are going to be people who are going to try to deter you, but don't let them. Do not let them deter you. 2017 is going to be your year because you're declaring it as your year. Remember, we all got to start from somewhere. We all have to start from somewhere. Steve Harvey has this whole theme that he talks about in a lot of his videos, is the idea of jumping. I think he even wrote a book about this. Jump in the driver's seat. You don't know how to drive, it's okay. You can learn. If you don't have a driver's license, it's okay. You can get one eventually. Your feet can't reach the pedal, it's okay. You will grow up and you will reach the pedal eventually. The whole idea of this whole Dreams and Drive vision is the idea that no parking, literally. Don't allow setbacks to stop you. If that's the one thing every guest talks about, is that everyone's going to have setbacks. But if you allow your setback to set you back, then you will be set back. So I just want to say, you guys, just do it. Remember, keep dreaming, keep driving. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, and a lot of you guys may be annoyed with me, but it's okay. But thank you so much for making 2016 one of the best years for me professionally and personally. I've accomplished so many of my goals, and I really couldn't have done it without everyone who listens in each week. Keep dreaming, keep driving. Follow us on social at Dreams and Drive. Tell a friend about this episode. Share this episode. Share the podcast with a friend. Tweet about us. Facebook about us. Subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. Wherever you're listening, make sure you are subscribed. Join our Dream Driver community. Just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. And 2017, I'm going to be trying to engage with you guys more. I'm looking for graphic designers. I'm looking on possibly building a creator community. I would love to redo the website. There's so many things that we all can give to one another. So I'm excited to see all the good stuff you guys are creating as well. If you want to reach out to me, just email me at raina@dreamsanddrive.com. Yeah, I'm really excited for the new year. It's going to be amazing. Talk to you guys for the first episode of 2017.